Hi, my name's Waldron. This is my coursework for audio processing and effects. To start off, to get my images cycling, I used a metro and a counter, which would go into a selector, which would manually select for all the images. I also wanted to add a random button, which the user could press and make the images jump from random to random. So I used a earn object with output a clear when all the images had been cycled, so that it would clear. I also wanted my images to fade in and fade out, so I used a message box with a line object and alpha that would change its transparency, and then a certain amount of seconds later, which is defined by the input here, I would then fade out. Because of this, I wanted to put an image, just a black screen, so that when the image is faded out and then faded in again, it wouldn't just be the background of Max. To sync the audio up with the images, I used the output of the counter, which would go into a selector object. Also, I had a subpatch for each image that would hold all the audio for that certain image that would go into the inputs of the selector. From the output of the selector, it would then go through our overall master gain and into the SDAC. I wanted my audio to fade in and out, so I used delays with 1 and 0 message box in the line object that would select 0 and then 500, which is the seconds, and then 1 after a certain amount of time, and then a certain amount of time after that would select 1, then 500, and then 0. For image A, I wanted to create an alarm sound and a computerized sound to replicate the image. To do this, for the alarm, I used frequency modulation with the use of a phaser that would change the center frequency between 2 points. The frequency was defined by a K-slider object, and which would be generated by a sawtooth wave. For the computer, I used a SAW object to continuously output an input signal of 2 phasers, which would be suitable for timing tasks. Image B, I wanted to create a spinning turbine sound, a wind sound, and a rumble sound. To create a spinning turbine sound, I used granular synthesis with an audio file and the envelope created by this phaser. These were then timed together to create a grain, which was defined by a message box and a line object. To create the wind, I used 3 different types of low pass filter, 1 pole, low res, and SVF with the output set to low pass. I also used 2 band pass filters that the cutoff frequency would be changed by these 2 cycle objects to decrease and increase the frequency to give the illusion of the wind increasing and decreasing. For rumble, I used additive synthesis with the carrier, modulator, depth and amplitude being defined here. These were in all times together to create one sound, as were these, and then they were both added together to create the overall rumble sound. For image D, I wanted to create an electrical buzz and electrical clicks. For the electrical buzz, I used a rand object with the frequency set to the value of this number box. I also then times that together with another number box, which would then be the amplitude. For the clicks, I used a phaser at the rate of 1 with a random object and a root object. When the root object outputted at 0, it would hit a click, and when the root object outputted a 3, it would hit a click and another click that was defined by this multi-slider object and then filtered down using a bandpass and all-pass filter. For image E, I made an ambient and metallic sound, and I tried to make them both sound quite far away. To create the ambient sound, I used an audio file, which was an organ I found online, and then distorted it by ring modulation. I also put this on a loop, which would be set to 0 to 1. The time of this loop was defined by the inputs of this groove, so this would be 300 milliseconds to 6.6 seconds. For the metallic sound, I simply just used the exact same system, but I changed the time, obviously, of the audio file and the and the frequency of the ring modulation. For MGF, I created a motion sound, thump sound, and two bird sounds. To create the motion sound, I used white noise filtered by a low pass band pass filter with the gain and resonance set by message boxes. The center frequency was defined by this message box, which would rapidly change the center frequency with whatever values were in this message box. I used a metro counter and select that would output a bang to the message box every certain amount of milliseconds to have that continuous bang sound. To create the thump, I used the output of the motion sound with a slight delay so that you could properly hear it. I used a phaser and a cycle object to create the overall boom sound, which was determined by a message box, which would go from 1 to 0 at 600 milliseconds. To create the bird chirps, I used a metro with a random output, so that the birds would seem random. When the output bangs, it would bang from 0 and then 1 with a tiny little delay just to give it a sharp sound, and then go to the gate. To create the curve of the sound, I used a load mess to load the values and then unpack them. I then used T to order them from left to right, and then pack them again, sent them to this curve to create the overall sound. For the other bird noise, I just used the exact same but with just different load mess values and a slightly different delay. Throughout my patch, I used load bangs that would bang messages to all the gains and different values that needed to be inputted. I think that's it. Thank you for watching.